in my day, we didn't have all these gay people. Well, that's not exactly true. Gay people have always existed, but because homosexuality was illegal in many countries until around the 1960s, when gradually countries began to legalize it, even though queer people existed, you didn't necessarily know that they were there, who they were, or that they were queer. It's like trying to find a specific flower in a group of them, but you don't know what you're looking for until someone tells you, oh, you're looking for a violet. Then you might finally see. So today, I will be telling you about the words and phrases that queer people used in history to identify each other, the people in queer history, and how they impact today's society, the horrors faced by the homosexual men in Nazi concentration camps, and how similar horrors can still arise today. The first thing I'll be talking about are the words and things used in queer history to indicate people's homosexuality. And the first thing I'll be talking about is lavender. Lavender originally was used as a code word in the English and French homosexual communities around the 18th century, just as a word to say, hey, I'm gay. But later it was used in the term lavender marriage, which is a marriage between a man and a woman where either one or both of the parties are either homosexual or bisexual. This is best done in pairs when you can have two homosexual couples marry each other so that the families can just be good friends. Now, surprisingly, lavender isn't the only purple flower that has significant impact in queer history. The other one is violets. Violets were given by women to other women around the 19th century to show people's love and affection in a homosexual way without having to fear social stigmas or legal consequences because of the criminalization of homosexuality. Why violets specifically were used was because of a poet named Sappho, who often used violets in her work. Sappho was alive around 600 BCE, so a very long time ago in ancient Greece. These are some pictures of her, and they are all statues and paintings that were done around the 1800s. Sappho was a lyrical poet, which is why a lot of her pictures often show a musical instrument. It's because her poetry was meant to be sung, which is kind of how we ended up getting contemporary music, through singing and music. She's one of the people that invented that. And that is her main impact on today's society, that she invented music with song, or like music with words. And she was one of the first of her time to do that. The other impact she has on today's society are two words, one being sapphic and the other being lesbian. Sappho lived on the island of Lesbos, which is where we get the word lesbian, which means two women, or a woman who loves other women. The word sapphic means about the same thing, but it extends to non-binary people, bisexual and pansexual people, etc. The second person I will be talking about is Albert DJ Cashier. Albert DJ Cashier was alive around the 1840s. We don't know exactly when he was born, though, because he was very secretive about his childhood. We do know that he was born in Ireland, though, and that he immigrated to Illinois around 1862, or before. In 1862, Abraham Lincoln issued a call for soldiers for the Civil War, and Albert Cashier responded. And he was in the war as a man, and he lived as a man, even after he was honorably discharged in the August of 1865. There were many women who dressed up as men to fight in the Civil War. Albert Cashier was one of about 500 to 1,000 women who did this. But the thing that makes Albert DJ Cashier different is that he lived as a woman both before and after the war was over. In total, he lived as a man for around 53 years, and it wasn't until he was put into the mental hospital for the insane in about 1916 that he was actually found out to be female at birth. This is why many historians believe that Albert DJ Cashier would presently identify as a transgender male. The third and final person I will be talking about today is Alan Turing. Alan Turing was born in 1912 in London, England. He was best known for his mathematics and cryptography. He invented the Turing machine, which was the first supercomputer, and he worked on the Enigma code during World War II. For those of you who do not know, the Enigma code was the code used by the Nazis to transmit all of their messages during World War II. Anything that they said was coded by Enigma. The problem was that Enigma had over 20 quintillion possibilities that rotated every single day. Alan Turing was on a team of mathematicians that were trying to crack Enigma, and Alan Turing was one of the first people to realize that because Enigma was created by a machine, the only way it could be broken was also by a machine. So he created one. This is the machine here. It's called the bomb. And this is the machine that ultimately led to World War II being ended approximately 2 to 3 years earlier than it could have ended, saving over 14 million lives. And this is all thanks to Alan Turing. Now, unfortunately, in 1952, he was convicted of homosexuality, and he was given the choice between chemical castration and prison. Chemical castration falsely claimed to cure homosexuality, but he took it anyway. In 1954, he committed suicide. He was found dead on the floor with an apple by his hand laced with cyanide. Although it is not proven, it is widely assumed that this was intentional. More horrors in the homosexual community also arise during World War II, and this was in Nazi concentration camps. You may have seen this upside-down pink triangle before. Today, it is used as a symbol of protest within the LGBTQ+ community, and it's a symbol to remind us of what happened. Now, there are many different triangles in Nazi concentration camps. Each one meant a different thing. For example, red meant a political prisoner, green meant a criminal, purple meant a Jehovah's Witness, and each of the triangles often had a letter on them to indicate where the person was from. And if the person was a Jew, there was a yellow star under them. Now, although everybody in concentration camps was treated horrendously, pink triangle inmates had it worse than some of the others because they underwent chemical treatments without their consent that was chemical castration, but it was experimental, and it often led to these people being killed. They also underwent sexual violence and lethal labor. Over 65% of pink triangle inmates died in concentration camps. And even after the liberation by the Allies of concentration camps, although the Allies said that all people imprisoned for religious or political reasons would be freed, they said that common criminals would still have to remain and have to finish out their punishment or be transferred to different prisons. Because homosexuality was seen as a crime, these pink triangle inmates continued to be imprisoned even after almost nearly everybody else was released from concentration camps, meaning that their horrors and their stories were not over. Many things have improved within the last few years, and within the last 40 years, 100 years, but similar things can happen today. There are 63 countries in which being homosexual is still illegal, as shown on the map here. The majority of them, the maximum punishment you will receive is a fine or imprisonment up to life. But in 14 countries, the death penalty is used as punishment for found homosexuals. And in 6 of them, the punishment is stoning. These things are horrible and inhumane. And the reason I am telling you all of this today is because these stories are being erased from our textbooks, from our websites, and we're not allowed to teach about them. We're not allowed to talk about them to students. So we have to tell each other. The only way we can know is if we write it down and tell other people. So I'm telling you so that no matter what gets erased, no matter how much of it gets erased, as long as we talk about it, as we remember the horrors that face, we will never forget. Thank you.